Welcome to the 2016 season premiere of North Dakota Hockey with Brad Berry. I'm your host, Alex Heinert, and this, of course, is Ralph Engelstad Arena. The Ralph is quiet now, but it will be anything but in just a few days' time, as over 12,000 fans will fill this place to witness something that's not happened since the inaugural season of the Ralph back in 2001, the raising of a national championship banner. Before UND begins their quest for an NCAA record-tying 9th national championship, it's a good time to take a look back to see how they won title number 8.
Here comes the University of North Dakota.
And we're underway.
Everyone here at the Ralph is on their feet.
Oh, look at that crunching hit. Oh my goodness, what a massive collision. Oh, there's a great move. And he scores! Here's Kajula now, short-handed. Highlight reel goal by Drake Kajula. 4 consecutive shutouts by Cam Johnson.
A sad moment, it's a special moment, but it's something we certainly won't forget.
It was an absolute roller coaster of emotions.
This place has a special place in my heart, and I'll never forget it.
Backhander, Sanderson! Oh, he's waited a long, long time. Oh my goodness! You talk about tic-tac-toe. Wow, is that pretty? And comes to Bagansky on the marble. He's got people in front. Kajula scores! Holy smokes, what hands! He went top shelf.
14 in green with the game on his stick. He scores!
Gonna be an exciting one tonight. What a beautiful play! On their way to the regional final, a resounding win. Save! Score! Brad Berry and his team are going to go to Tampa and play for a national championship.
I always say to the guys, we have the team in here. It's just, do we want it more than the other team? That's what it comes down to in this time of year.
Third time in a row. Now, hopefully third time's the charm.
They're on their feet in Tampa. In front, shot, score! Pressure gets it back, he score! North Dakota returns to the championship game. Shot, score! It hits Besser, and he makes it 2-0. For the first time in 16 years, stick a Grand Forks in them. North Dakota, champions of the college hockey world.
Never gets old, does it? We'll talk to head coach Brad Berry about life after Tampa and preview the upcoming season when we come back.
North Dakota Hockey with Brad Berry on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
Welcome back. We're proud to be joined again each week this season by the namesake of our program, UND men's hockey head coach Brad Berry. It's been a bit of a whirlwind, I'm sure, since last year's title-winning run in April in Tampa. I know that you want to get to this season, but we'll kind of start and look back a little bit. Sure. How long did it take for winning that national title just to kind of sink in and feel like we really did this, we really accomplished
You know
this?
what, I think it was a few days after we got back from Tampa. I know obviously the excitement and a very special night in Tampa, but coming back to the fans in the state of North Dakota and the city of Grand Forks, it really resonated to us probably the couple weeks after how important, how special it was.
Obviously an unforgettable night for anybody that certainly played or watched or was there in person. Give us a memory, something that really stuck with you from that night in that game.
Well, I think first of all, the red carpet, walkway going to the game that night. First of all, Tampa did an outstanding job of hosting the Frozen Four. And, our guys walking up on the red carpet going into the rink with the loud and passionate fans that are waiting us to get into the rink. kind of put the hair on the back of your neck standing up there. And again, from there on in, our guys were pumped up to ready to play. And again, I think it's just the loyal fan support that we had.
Yeah, certainly they were ready to play. They pulled it off, a 5-1 win over Quinnipiac. This offseason has been, I'm sure, a unique one for you, other than obviously celebrating the national championship and not moving into a new office, which you were doing around the offseason last year. How was this offseason different from last year?
Well, I think there's a little bit more time to prepare. Last year, things came fast and furious since the transition. But this year, with consistently having the same staff, knowing the players that we have, it was a little more. It was better in the fact that we had a chance to get our feet underneath us.
Kind of unique. You had a chance to take the national title around to different places in Grand Forks. That's not necessarily a tradition like with the Stanley Cup. What kind of gave you the idea, and talk about how that was?
Well, again, it goes back to the fan support. And, obviously we haven't won a championship in 16 years and been knocking on the door a lot of years. But finally getting it done, the real reason, or real important reason why we won, not only the players on the ice and the staff and the university, but the fans that we have. And I just wanted to make sure that instead of sitting that trophy in a trophy case collecting dust for the next few years, let the fans have a little bit of enjoyment with it.
Yeah, you could tell how much that meant to them. You saw some of those pictures and heard some of those stories. One of the big things this offseason, other than preparing for the year, right after the title, when some of those announcements that we expected, some of your key players from last season signing pro contracts, I know for you as a coach, that's got to be a feeling of mixed emotions where these are guys that you care about and you're excited to see them achieve something lifelong that they've wanted to do. But at the same time, you're not going to have them on your team this next year. Talk about that mix of emotions.
Yeah, and that's the part of the business too. Obviously we're here to educate our players, and they get great 4-year education, 4-year degree here at North Dakota. But the other part is a chance for their development to try to get to a pro level. And again, some players stay 4 years, some players stay 3 years, and we lose players maybe a little bit earlier than other programs do, but that's all part of it. And when good players leave, other good players come in. And the most important part is making sure that we're a very important part of their maturity process going through here.
Yeah, one of the positives, at least, of losing some of those key pieces keeps everybody else hungry. There's a group of young guys that have to come up and fill those shoes. Got to be a nice thing going into this season, knowing that hunger is still there.
Yeah, there is. There definitely is. We've had a taste of success here this year, and I know the guys this year coming back, they want to get back to that level, and we have a new group of guys, and they are very good players in their own right.
We're going to continue the conversation about that group of guys here with Coach Berry coming up after the break. We're going to talk about the banner raiser against Manitoba. Come on back. We're back now with UND head coach Brad Berry, and coach last year, obviously a very special season, but you've put that now behind you. It's a new campaign. Talk about the preparations for this coming season.
Well, Alex, that's right. I mean, it's a new season. We've talked about that extensively in our locker room, and our guys are prepared on earning it again every single day. The slate is clean. Obviously, we have to raise a couple of banners, and in doing that, we'll enjoy that. But we want to move forward and try to earn the next championship.
What are some of the ways you've tried to motivate your guys, maybe to move on from last year and get ready for the season? Anything different this year?
Well, I think basically dealing with it straight on, as far as having a bullseye on our back. I know a lot of times when teams come in here to play, they bring their best anyways. But now, especially having success with the championship, it'll be even more so. And again, we want to make sure our guys are dialed in right away, and our focus has to be more refined or more detailed so that we have success.
Looking at the team this year, it's a younger group. Just 7 upperclassmen to 19 sophomores and freshmen. What's that team dynamic been like?
Well, young. It's young and exuberant, and a lot of energy, which, everybody says it'd be great to have the experience back from last year, the guys that left. But it would be. But on the same time, it's nice having young, youthful guys coming in that are energetic and want to prove themselves every single day. So again, we're happy with our group. I think we have a special group again this year, and we look forward to the year ahead.
Looking at the roster, so much of your success last season predicated on defense. Got to be nice to have All-American goaltender Cam Johnson back, as well as Matt Herinke, who was great for you in reserve last year. Nice the fact the rest of the NCHC kind of replacing their top goalies. You don't have to worry about that this year.
Well, and again, I think the position of strength of our program last year was our depth in all positions. And you named our goaltending group. I feel very confident with our group as far as the depth. Cam Johnson being at the top of that list. So again, that's a position of strength, and I know we have a lot of other positions of strength too.
Yeah, certainly one of those, your forward spot. Cam, obviously an All-American last year. Brock Besser, the other returning All-American on this team. Brock easily could have left for Vancouver and signed after one season, chose to come back. How big is his return to this team?
Huge. You know, he was our leading scorer last year. We had a lot of skilled and talented group up front, and, you know, he led the way in the point side of it. You know, wanted to come back, knew that he had more room to grow as a person and as a player, and you got to commend him for his maturity on realizing that. So having him back, plus you know, a lot of other guys returning and some good young faces up front, it should be an interesting and exciting year.
Yeah, chance for Brock to work on that leadership side as an assistant captain this year. Talk about the rest of that leadership group that you've got alongside Brock Besser.
Yeah, I think it's another great leadership group. I know last year we had a big group, and they all brought a little bit of a different kind of leadership to the table, and as well as this year. Gage Osmus, second-year captain, led our team in a great way last year, and now we have Austin Boganski, Tucker Pooley, Johnny Simonson, and Brock Besser as the assistant. So again, that's a good group, and I know we'll add one or two guys in our core leadership group as we go forward.
You mentioned Gage, obviously a big leader on the defensive side. He and Tucker Pullman come back with a lot of experience.
Yeah.
The rest of that group, though, maybe a little bit unproven. Talk about what needs to happen with that blue line to kind of get them where they were last year with so much great play from that side of your team.
That's a good point. I know that was a very strong group there last year. I feel we're going to be that way this year. We're going to have probably some learning curves going forward with that group, but very good group nonetheless. Tucker Pullman, Gage Osmus, veterans. Christian Willan and Hayden Shaw played very key roles last year. Their play will increase this year and then give them more responsibility. And then, you know, the three freshman defensemen that we're bringing in, they'll learn by having great leadership in front of them.
Yeah, you talked about the depth of this team overall a little bit ago. That's certainly the case in the rest of your forward lines as well. Talk about kind of the rest of that group and how you see some of those lines shaping out this season.
Well, you know what? I think the beauty of our group last year was, again, depth, and we had not just one line contributing. Obviously, we had the CBS line, but there were other lines in there that worked game in and game out and gave us production. We'll have to have the same thing this year. Our league is so tough to parity that we got to make sure that everybody's contributing, and you guys got guys like Austin Boganski and Rhett Gardner and Johnny Simonson. Those are great places to start.
Looking ahead to this weekend, you get to raise a banner against Manitoba, an exhibition game, obviously. What's the mindset for a game like that?
Well, I think, you know, it's a celebration, right? But I think hopefully it's the last hurdle before we get to the new season. And don't get me wrong, it's a very special night, and again, it'll be a sold-out place. I think for the most part we'll celebrate it, but I think it'll be exciting because it's the first time we get our new group on the ice to turn the page, and the clean slate begins, and it'll be an exciting night.
Should be a really fun one to watch. You get to open up the regular season the following week at home against Canisius. You play most of your games, 5 home games in a row here at the Ralph. A great way to open up the season in front of your home fans before some really key non-conference dates on the road. Talk about how you see that first part of the year playing out.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Alex. I think it's nice playing in your home venue. I know last year when we went started the year, we were on the road for the whole month of October, and you know, we had a big group that bound our group together a little bit. But being at home with our loud and passionate fans, I think it'll help us to get together early as a team.
Yeah, it's going to be a great season, Coach. We look forward to it. Have fun raising the banner this weekend. We'll talk to you about it next week.
Thanks, Alex.
Coach Brad Berry. When we come back, we're going to have a chance to meet some of the new class of the UND men's hockey team with Katie Hale. Join us in a moment. One of the keys to success for North Dakota in the 2016-17 season will be the play of its newcomers. 8 new freshmen have joined up with the national champs, and our own Katie Hale is going to introduce you to each of them over the next several months, beginning with defenseman Andrew Peski.
I'm here with Andrew Peski, freshman for the North Dakota program here. Andrew, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how you got your start in college hockey.
Yeah, I'm from Ottawa, Ontario, the capital of Canada. And made my visit to North Dakota about a year and a half ago, and when I came, it just felt like home, and knew it was the best move for me.
Did you have any other schools that you were interested in, or that they were looking at you?
Yeah, there were a few others, but again, you just know when you come on your visit, watching the games, feeling the atmosphere of the crowd. It just felt like the right place, and eventually I ended up going here.
So when you come here to North Dakota, what was it about the program that really just, you said it made you feel like home? What was it?
The big thing was the fans, the atmosphere and environment that they brought, how passionate they are towards hockey. It's just something that you don't see in other places. And on top of that, the facilities here are incredible. Just an overall amazing place.
You're going to bring an offensive presence to the blue line this year for North Dakota. You'll be playing alongside Tucker Poolman, probably one of the best, if not the best, offensive defenseman in the country right now in college hockey. What do you hope to learn from him and all of the other solid blue liners North Dakota has?
Yeah, Tucker's a phenomenal player. I've been watching him since he was a freshman here. He's really grown into a remarkable player. I hope to maybe model my game after him a little bit, follow in his footsteps, learn everything that he has to offer. And, you know, if I do get to play with him, that'd be an absolute honor.
I think I had read that you were a forward until about the age of 12.
Yeah.
And then you made the change to defense. Was that your choice, or how did that happen?
Yeah, so I was always kind of that third man back, centerman. And one day my coach says, well, you're always back with defensemen, why don't you be one? So I tried it out for a game, really enjoyed it, and stuck with it ever since.
Well, it worked out pretty well for you because now you're here for North Dakota. You
Yeah.
talked about the fans, the atmosphere. It is amazing. I mean, there's no doubt it's one of the best in college hockey. What do you think it's going to feel like when you step out on the ice coming from the tunnel on that first game?
Yeah, I've thought about it. We had our first practice on the Ralph a couple weeks ago, and without fans, I was pretty nervous. It's just it's an enormous building with so much history and stuff like that. So I think the first game with almost 12,000 fans and the energy and the music, it's going to be a great night.
How about any superstitions for the final question that you have?
Superstitions, no. I try to stay away from those just because if I don't end up doing it, it kind of throws me off a little bit. So I just more tend to go to a routine, try to do the same things every game in and out. So routine's my kind of thing.
Well, Andrew, we're excited to see you out there on the ice, and welcome to North Dakota.
Thank you.
Thanks, Katie. We're back in a moment to wrap up our preview of the North Dakota hockey season with a guy that knows more about the college hockey landscape than just about anybody else. Brad Schlossman of the Grand Forks Herald joins us next.
North Dakota Hockey with Brad Berry on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
Joined now by award-winning college hockey beat writer for the Grand Forks Herald, Brad Schlossman. Brad, back for his 12th season covering University of North Dakota hockey. You've seen a lot of different incarnations of this team over the years, maybe none as good as the one that won a national title last year. Tough to compare that to this season, but how do these teams match up from last year to this year?
Well, I think that's the first thing, you know, when you fill out your preseason predictions, you look and see last year's team, and it's not going to be as good. And so right away, that usually means you bump them down. But then you start looking around at what everyone else has in the league, and you know, I think this is a team that can compete again, and you know, for a Penrose Cup. And are they going to be as good as last year's team? No, but that doesn't mean they can't accomplish huge things. I think last year's team was one of those squads that comes along once every 30 years. You know, you're just not going to see it again. So, you know, it's not going to be, things aren't going to be as easy. They're not going to have as much of a margin for error, but it still has potential to be a really, really good team.
Yeah, some of the key guys from last season, of course, coming back. We know about Cam Johnson and Brock Besser. Give us some of the new faces maybe that we should be watching for. Who do you expect to break out this season for UND?
Yeah, you know, I think a guy like Joel Janatuinen was right on the verge of breaking out last year. He never piled up the points, but was just a responsible player in all areas of the game, and I think he's a guy that could really surprise some people this year. And then I think there's going to be some spots in the top six forwards open for guys like Shane Gersich to step up to the next level, and a Chris Wilkie who really can shoot the puck. So I think that sophomore class, look for them to take another step this year.
Yeah, a lot of kids in that sophomore class. Also a lot of kids in the freshman class. 8 new faces on this team. Kind of give us a little preview of what you see in that freshman group Brad Berry's brought in this season.
Yeah, you know, I think everyone's talking about Tyson Jost. He's obviously the headliner of the group, went 10th overall in the draft, and he's a player, I've told people, he's not going to jump off the page at you when you watch him. He's not a dazzling highlight machine, but if you watch him closely during a game, you'll see he just does everything well. He's just he is a lot like a Jonathan Taves, where you know Patrick Kane's the one jumping off the page at you, but Taves is the one doing everything, including defensively well. That's Tyson Jost. I think he'll fit in really well. The other guys, I don't think they're going to be asked to do a ton this season, and that's kind of the luxury of when you get guys back, is you don't have to throw a guy into a top line role right away, or you don't have to have him play huge minutes on the blue line like Tucker Poolman and Gage Osmus and Wolanin and Shaw will do this year too. So I think the other guys will get eased into the team, but Jost is the one everyone's looking forward to watching.
Yeah, NCHC looks to be, as a conference, a very difficult one again this season. Like a lot of teams, I think 4 teams ranked in the top 7 to start things off. UND then picked to finish first, though, in the league for the 3rd straight year. You think it could be a 4-team race, though, in that conference? Kind of break down how you see the NCAA.
I really do. I think, if North Dakota wins the league, Denver wins it, St. Cloud or Duluth wins it, I'm not going to be surprised at all. And people are saying St. Cloud, they lost their top 6 scorers or whatever it was, but their defensive core is really good. And on top of all the D-men they bring back, they bring in 2 big-timers on the blue line, USHL D-Man of the Year, the BCHL D-Man of the Year, and a first-round draft pick. So I think St. Cloud's going to surprise a lot of teams this year. I think Duluth is a good team all around. At the end of last season, they were playing as well as anyone. And, Denver, we know what they did last year, too.
Yeah, never an easy road for North Dakota. One last thing for you. If UND has a chance to put themselves in position for another national title, what is going to be the biggest factor in making another run at this thing?
They need to develop the defensive core. That's where the biggest question mark is right now. We know what Gage Osmus will bring. Tucker Poolman's a high-end guy. Wolanin and Shaw are guys that are going to have to take the next step. They were asked to be number 6 defensemen last year. They're going to be asked to be number 3 and 4 this year, playing against more top lines. Some of the freshmen are going to have to jump in and play every night. There will have to be at least 2 rookies in there every night. So that group has to develop as the year went on.
Well, if you're not already reading Brad Schlossman's work, which I'm sure you are if you're watching this show, you need to. A big thanks to Brad for your time today, buddy. Enjoy the season.
Yeah, for sure. You too.
Brad Schlossman of the Grand Forks Herald. A reminder that our first live hockey broadcast for UND is coming up this weekend, this Saturday night, the banner raiser against Manitoba. Jake Brandt and I will have the call. We'll talk about that game and look ahead to the start of the regular season next week at 6:30 right here on UND Hockey with Brad Berry. Until then, I'm Alex Heinert. We'll see you at the Ralph.